is usually the correct one. Others countered that simple explanations rarely satisfy. When so many details feel emotionally charged, outside reactions added another layer. People who weren't deeply invested at first started chiming in with fresh perspectives. They questioned why anyone should care so much about speculative commentary. Longtime followers responded by explaining that when you watch someone's career unfold publicly, even rumors feel personal. This exchange highlighted how fandoms create their own emotional ecosystems. Within those spaces, stories don't need confirmation to feel impactful. They need relatability, tension, and the promise of eventual clarity. The pacing of the narrative also became part of the drama. Every day without a statement was framed as another beat in the story. Some creators suggested that timing matters, that speaking too early can backfire just as much as speaking too late. Others argue that letting rumors linger allows them to harden into belief. Again, no one claimed insider knowledge. It was all framed as analysis of how public narratives usually evolve. Still, the audience responded intensely, projecting their own expectations onto the situation. Imagined reactions of friends and colleagues continued to fuel discussion. Fans speculated about quiet support, about private check-ins, about people choosing sides quietly without announcing anything publicly. Even neutral actions were given meaning. A delayed appearance, a change in routine, a shift in tone during unrelated content all became material for interpretation. People weren't accusing, they were reading between lines that may or may not exist. The suspense came from not knowing whether those lines were real or imagined. By the end of this segment of the story, the tension felt heavier. Not explosive, but dense. The narrative had evolved from "what is this clip" to "what does silence mean?" Viewers weren't demanding answers as much as they were bracing for impact. Something felt like it had to give eventually, even if that something was simply the story fading away. Until then, the emotional stakes remained high. Trust, image, and perception were all being debated in real time, fueled by commentary, speculation, and the very human tendency to search for meaning in uncertainty. As the speculation deepened, creators talked about how rumors don't just live online, they seep into real-life routines, relationships, and mental states. According to ongoing discussions, viewers began imagining the emotional weight of waking up every day knowing that thousands of strangers are dissecting your silence. Not because anything has been proven, but because perception has taken on a life of its own. Fans are shocked by how quickly empathy and judgment can overlap. One comment would express concern for the stress involved, while the next would insist that public figures know what they sign up for. Emotions ran high because both perspectives felt valid to different people. The idea of loyalty became a recurring theme in commentary. Creators framed the situation like a loyalty test that no one officially announced but everyone felt. People speculated about who would stand firm, who would distance themselves quietly, and who might eventually feel pressured to speak. Imagined dialogues resurfaced, always hypothetical, always framed as what people think might be happening. Lines like "stay steady" or "don't react yet" were repeated as examples of the kind of advice someone in that position might receive. These dramatized moments weren't accusations. They were reflections of how audiences understand crisis management through years of consuming similar stories. Fan reactions also revealed fatigue. Some viewers said they were tired of theories and wanted something concrete, even if that concrete thing was a denial. Others admitted that the unresolved tension was exactly why they kept coming back. The family was left divided once more in the emotional sense, with one side craving closure and the other thriving on suspense. Commentary channels acknowledged this divide openly, noting that not every viewer wants the same outcome. Some want vindication, others want confirmation. And some just want the story to keep unfolding because it feels like serialized entertainment. Attention also turned toward the so-called third person again, but now less as a mystery figure and more as a narrative device. Commentators suggested that this unseen presence represents the unknown variables in any large organization. The people you don't see, the decisions you don't hear about, the context that never makes it into public view. Fans debated whether focusing on this figure was fair or simply a way to personify uncertainty. Some argued that giving the unknown a face makes it easier to talk about fear and doubt. Others warned that doing so risks turning speculation into assumption. Both sides agreed on one thing. The concept itself had captured the imagination of the audience. As days passed, the lack of dramatic escalation became its own twist. No explosive statements, no surprise appearances, just normal content continuing as usual. Supporters' strength and refusal to be rattled. Critics read it as avoidance. Commentators carefully walked the line, reminding viewers that normalcy can be genuine or strategic depending on perspective. This ambiguity kept the suspense alive. Viewers weren't reacting to events anymore. They were reacting to interpretations of non-events. Silence, routine, and restraint became plot points in their own right. Emotional projections grew more vivid. Fans imagined private moments of frustration, moments of doubt, moments of reassurance from close allies. Again, none of this was presented as fact. It was framed as what audiences believe might be happening because it fits familiar emotional arcs. Betrayal, even when unproven, feels powerful because it taps into universal fears. Loyalty, even when assumed, feels comforting for the same reason. Commentary leaned into these universal emotions, making the story feel relatable even without concrete developments. The audience also began questioning itself. Some commenters reflected on how easily they were pulled into speculation. They asked whether consuming this kind of content says more about viewers than about the people being discussed. Creators acknowledged this meta-conversation, suggesting that stories like this reveal the mechanics of modern attention. A rumor doesn't need proof to spread, it needs momentum. And momentum comes from emotional engagement. Fans are shocked when they realize how quickly they move from observer to participant simply by commenting, sharing, or choosing sides. Meanwhile, imagined reactions from the wider circle continued to fill gaps. Viewers speculated about private support messages, quiet check-ins, people choosing to stay offline to avoid being misinterpreted. Every absence was given meaning. Every appearance was analyzed for tone. Even humor in unrelated contexts was scrutinized for hidden messages. This level of analysis wasn't driven by malice as much as by curiosity mixed with investment. People wanted to understand what was happening, even if they acknowledged that they might never know by this point. The narrative felt less like a single controversy and more like a case study in perception. Commentary emphasized that nothing new had been proven, yet everything felt different. Trust felt questioned, even if no accusation was confirmed. Image felt fragile, even if no official challenge was made. The suspense wasn't about what happened. It was about what might be believed next. And as long as belief remained unsettled, the story retained its grip. Viewers stayed tuned, not because they expected immediate answers, but because uncertainty itself had become the driving force, keeping emotions elevated and attention locked in place. As the conversation reached its most intense stage, the story stopped feeling like background noise and started feeling personal for many viewers. Commentary shifted again, this time toward consequences. Not legal or official ones, but emotional and reputational consequences shaped entirely by public perception. Creators talked about how in the modern media cycle, stories do not need conclusions to cause impact. They only need momentum. Fans are shocked by how something unconfirmed can still change how people talk, react, and remember. The narrative had grown beyond the original footage and settled into something heavier. A shared tension that followed every mention of the names involved. Emotions ran high because people began imagining what it feels like to be trapped in a story you did not write but are expected to resolve. Commentary explored the idea that once a rumor reaches a certain scale, denial does not erase it, and silence does not stop it. Either response becomes part of the story. Some creators describe this as the no-win phase, where every option carries risk. Speaking could invite more scrutiny. Staying quiet could invite more suspicion. Fans debated endlessly about which path they would choose if placed in the same position. These debates were not about facts, but about empathy and projection. The dynamic between Erica and the chief of staff continued to be a focal point, not because of new information, but because viewers kept reading into their public presence. Supporters highlighted moments of calm professionalism, suggesting that stability under pressure sends its own message. Critics questioned whether that same calm felt distant. Commentary made space for both interpretations, emphasizing again that these were reactions, not confirmations. The family was left divided in the emotional sense one last time, with some viewers feeling reassured by consistency and others unsettled by it. The idea of the third person evolved once more. No longer just a mystery figure, it became a symbol of unresolved narratives. Commentators suggested that audiences often create a character when they need somewhere to place uncertainty. The unseen becomes the container for fear, suspicion, and curiosity. Fans acknowledged this openly in comments, saying things like, "Maybe we just want a villain," or "Maybe this is how stories stay alive." This self-awareness did not end the speculation, but it added another layer to it. People knew they were participating in a narrative, and they kept participating anyway. Reaction videos now focused on potential outcomes rather than imagined events. Some speculated that the story would quietly fade as attention moved elsewhere. Others believed one statement, one interview, or one unexpected clip could reignite everything instantly. Commentary used phrases like "this could go either way" or "this feels like the calm before something bigger," not as predictions, but as reflections of how similar stories have played out in the past. Viewers responded strongly to this framing because it acknowledged uncertainty without trying to control it. Fan communities began to show signs of emotional burnout. Some viewers said they were stepping back, muting keywords, and waiting for something concrete. Others admitted that even if they tried, curiosity kept pulling them back in. This push and pull became part of the drama itself. The story was no longer just about the people at its center. It was about the audience's relationship with speculation. Commentary creators pointed this out gently, noting how entertainment-driven news blurs lines between reporting and storytelling imagined. Private moments continued to circulate in softer tones. Instead of heated arguments, viewers now pictured quiet reflection, careful planning, and conversations focused on endurance rather than confrontation. Dialogue shifted from panic to resolve in the collective imagination. Lines like "we just keep moving forward" or "this will pass" appeared in comment sections as people projected resilience onto the situation. These imagined resolutions did not close the story, but they changed its emotional temperature. The chaos of the early days gave way to a steadier, more. What made this phase compelling was that nothing new happened, yet everything felt settled in an uneasy way. The audience had adjusted to uncertainty. They no longer refreshed feeds expecting immediate revelations. Instead, they watched patterns, tones, and timing. Commentary described this as the long tail of modern drama, where impact stretches far beyond the initial spark. Fans are shocked when they realize that the loudest moments are not always the most influential ones. Sometimes it is the quiet persistence of a narrative that leaves the deepest mark by the time this chapter of the story reached its end. The main body of discussion felt complete even without resolution. The footage had sparked curiosity, the reactions had fueled debate, and the prolonged silence had transformed everything into a study of perception. No accusations were proven, no secrets officially revealed, yet the emotional journey had unfolded fully. Trust had been questioned, loyalty had been tested in imagination, and audiences had confronted their own role in amplifying uncertainty. And that is where the story rests for now. Not closed, not exploding, just existing in a suspended state where belief, doubt, and attention coexist. In this space, narratives do not need answers to feel finished. They need only to leave people thinking, talking, and waiting. And as long as viewers remain invested, the story remains alive, shaped not by facts alone, but by the collective emotions of everyone watching from the outside, wondering what, if anything, will finally shift the conversation again. Now it's your turn. You've seen how fast a single clip, a single rumor, and a wave of commentary can turn into a full-blown online storm. Nothing in this story has been confirmed as fact, but the reactions, the theories, and the emotions have been very real. Fans are shocked, opinions are divided, and the conversation keeps evolving with every new take that hits the timeline. Some people believe this will fade away quietly. Others think one unexpected moment could flip everything upside down again. The big question is, what do you think happens next? Do you believe this footage will stay in the realm of online speculation? Or do you think someone will eventually step forward and address the noise directly? Do you see this as a misunderstanding that grew out of control? Or as another example of how perception can become more powerful than reality? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is being shaped just as much by audience reaction as it is by what people claim is happening behind the scenes. Your voice is part of the discussion. If you've been locked into this breakdown and you want updates the moment new commentary or reactions surface,